Hey gang, today's situation report is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do. Now, those of you who are joining me who are new, the situation report I do every Monday normally is a compilation of international news, public releases, government reports that are allowed to be shared so none of us get in trouble. And I go by regions of the world, then within each region alphabetically is each country alphabetically. Today I'm not doing that. Today I'm going to talk about one very specific thing that will affect the United States and Canada and possibly Mexico indirectly. So it's a very North American problem, but it is a big problem also in Europe, and it will get worse over time. Many of you have probably heard about it. So what is the situation? Well, it is the fact that a recent report showed me that Berkshire Hathaway, Mr. Buffett's company, has just invested $1 billion, or almost $1 billion, in new home builders. New home builders. Now, all of us have been talking about the housing crash. Housing market's crashing, too many homes, not enough people, nobody can afford a home, and therein lies the problem for the home builders, right? They build homes, nobody can afford them because of interest rates, inflation. Right now, the median, to buy a median-sized home in America, you need to be making, on average, $126,000 a year. Most people don't do that, right? And even those that are in the six-figure range, we're kind of tight because with our car, we got your car, your house, your kids, money gets tight. So we're no longer in the market where someone who made an honest $50,000, $60,000 a year, which was a blue-collar job, like my dad had for 40 years and was able to get a nice apartment. We had cars, we had food, at least we weren't rich, but we had what we needed. Folks are struggling. Gen Z in particular is being hard hit because they right now represent about 70% of the rental market. These young kids, the reason they're angry is they're getting clobbered. Gen X felt that a bit. The baby boomers, not so much. The millennials were kind of in between that little bubble. But the Gen X kids saw that in the 80s. We took kind of a hit in the 80s as the market was coming up. We saw that when we were kids. And then Gen Z is really getting clobbered right now as they're coming out of high school and college. They can't find a home. They can't find a townhouse. They can't find a condo. So why? What's changing? Well, so Lennar, DR Horton, all these big companies are building what is called a BTR community, build to rent. So they're building the community and they're essentially building them to be rental apartments, but in the form of a house. They're finding that they make 40 to 60% more profit renting a small home with a yard than they would in, say, commercial real estate or redone commercial real estate to do, studio apartments or apartments in general, or even townhomes. Renting small homes is a big money maker for them. So they're like, well, we can't sell the homes because everything's so damn expensive. And here is where it starts getting shady. If you look at DR Horton and Lennar's reviews, in a lot of cases, people are complaining about the quality of the build. Now, if you're taking out a 10, 15, 20, 30-year mortgage, you're going to expect quality, right? Makes sense. But if you're renting, you're not as likely to complain about it. So their quality now can go even further down than it's already been for a lot of these builders. Because in reality, it doesn't have to be mortgage family life quality, it has to be rental quality, if that makes sense. So it's not going to be the same level of construction, not the same level of manufacturing, and as a result, their costs are going to go down, and then they're going to rent it for roughly just under what a mortgage payment would be for the same house. So let's say, for example, you get a little 1,500 square foot house, right? Most bigger apartments are about 12 to 1,500. You're going to pay $3,000 for the apartment, but the apartment has big overhead because it's a big, massive building with a lot of moving parts. They'll build the house and rent it out for the next 20 years at $2,000, $2,500. They're going to make a killing over the long run. And get this, they keep the equity. So these poor kids who are renting now or paying the company's equity. And mind you, these BTR communities are not being sold to people like you and I who we say, well, you know what, I'm going to cash out a little of my 401k after 20, 25, 30 years. I'm going to buy a couple old homes, redo them, and I'm going to rent them so that I have income for the family. And it's also something I can pass down in my estate to my son, my daughter, so they can manage, creating family wealth. No, it's going to the banks. It's going to the investment firms like Berkshire. And Berkshire's not even getting involved directly. They're just putting the money into the builders and getting their dividends. So it has changed. The housing market has changed, and the philosophy has changed to where these big builders, DR, Lennar, Trendmaker's kind of a custom home, but a lot of these other builders, they don't care if it's a high quality home. It has to check the boxes so the government doesn't hit them and nobody gets hurt in the house, and then they rent them. Even if the pipes break and it floods the house, right? They don't care. They'll send the contractor in, fix it as cheap as they can, check the boxes for the state or the government so they don't get in trouble, and just stick a new renter in there, and off they go. So even a $10,000 repair is nothing. But here's the kicker. They're adding, for instance, Phoenix added 4,400 homes in the last year, specifically for BTR, build to rent. That's an insane amount of houses. They're building entire communities now to rent. And they're not even putting them on the market like, oh, hey, look, this community is available. They sell all the houses. Oh, these 5 didn't sell. We'll sell those to the bank or the rental company, and that corporation can manage these 5, and the rest went into the market. No, the whole freaking community, straight to the big investments, the big institutions. What's that going to mean is that in the next generation or two, as houses come on the market and these companies are gobbling them up, or is you're going to have more renters trying to find their first home, but there will be less homes available on the market because the corporations got them all. And that's going to make the prices go up in time anyway. And the people who suffer are going to be the young families who are trying to get that first starter home. They're trying to get into that little house so they can save some equity, maybe roll it into a bigger house so the kids have a yard and a pool or whatever. They're not going to be able to do that. And I know a lot of you folks have already seen this happening, the what do they call the urban trend, where they're redoing warehouses and trying to gentrify everything. But now it's going to go nationwide, the subdivisions out in the country, everything. So we have corporations buying up farmland, we have corporations buying up all the houses, and over time, you will own nothing. And you'll be happy because you have no responsibility. You just pay your check, and now you are an indentured servant to the machine that cranks out the billions for those guys on top, and the rest of us have no equity. We didn't get to leave anything for our kids. If anything, this story pissed me off so badly. I did see a lot of this material on 2 other YouTube channels, and I can't find them again, so I'm going to go look and try to find those guys, and I want to tag them and give them credit. I was so pissed off. I went down this rabbit hole with various sources afterward, but I do want to try and give credit to the other channel, and I got to find them. I got to find them because I watched them on my TV and I'm not logged into YouTube on the TV. So I can't look at my history and find it because it wipes it when I shut the TV off. So, but in any case, do some reading, do some homework. And if you have young adults who are trying to find their first home, tell them to try to position themselves now to have the best credit, as much money as they can, and to pay attention to the housing market so they can jump into the market. It's going to get tight and it's going to get tough. And the rich get richer, and you will owe nothing, and I will owe nothing, and we'll be happy, and that's what they think of us. So you folks, if it doesn't piss you off, I don't know what to tell you, but it pissed me off seeing this today. You guys be good, be safe, God bless, and that's it for this situation report for this week. You guys take care of yourselves.